So, hello my fellow primates, or YouTubers as they're also called. We are also called. I'm starting up a new painting, a small landscape. I'm doing a lot of commissioned works right now, so this is a photograph of a landscape from my home city, Haugesund, outside of the city. It's going to be quite nice. I'm going to paint it on this canvas, and I think it's going to be quite nice actually. So I'm going to make a video of it. This is quite small. You can actually go closer to the canvas. Anyway, that is my avocado plant. It's growing like crazy. That's fun. It's my studio. Yeah, thanks for watching my videos and yeah, showing me that you're a little bit interested. Anyway, remember to share my videos, subscribe to my channel, put them into your lists, playlists and stuff like that. And if you like, you can become a patron or donate or ask questions or leave a comment or yeah, just say hi. Tell me what you think. Okay, stay cool. Yeah, and by the way, you will see the I will have a tutorial at the end of the video where I show you the finished picture painting with textures and all that shit. So, here we are. I can see it's a little bit yellow. It's always exciting to start on a new project. I just have to find... it's funny also because the photograph I'm painting from seems bigger to me than it is. It's actually the same size as the canvas. So, yeah. Anyway, it's almost in a golden snit. It comes over basically. I think the landscape comes about here, crossing right over, and the water, and then it's hard to say. No, not that high. It's about here. It's so easy to get tricked into believing that things are different. That is why it's so important to really look. These huge things from the trees, what do you call it in English? Greiner. In Norwegian we say greiner. All I can remember now is tree trunk. So, well, anyway. So, there's a lot of clouds, there's a lot of light, there's darkness, there's some ducks, there's some birds, and there's some eyes and everything, and there are limits to how much detail such a small painting can have. Well, I don't know, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just a limit to how much detail I am able to paint. I don't know. Maybe that's the truth. Anyway, I will start with the lights. As usual, I love that because the darkness, as you can see, is in here. So I'll just keep piling on. What I would like to know, if somebody would like to see a video where I also film the palette when I'm painting, and not in the same video. I have no idea how to do that, and I'm not earning enough money on this channel to bother. I have too much to do than to sit around and figure out how to do all the fancy video stuff. Maybe I should, but that will come later. But I could actually film back and forth from my palette and yeah. And the painting. As I said, the light is hitting some buildings behind there. I'm going to try to keep this as dynamic as I can. It's quite interesting actually. But it's always very interesting in the beginning when you start on a new canvas. Because it's new, everything new, it gives a bang. Actually, I saw that in a lot of, in the first paintings of Edvard Munch, the world famous Norwegian painter Edvard Munch. I could see that in the end of his life he was more into making basically a sketch a day. I call it a sketch, I don't call it a finished painting. And maybe I was just sick of it all and need the bang, the kick. And doing stuff like this is very immediate. It gives you a bang for the buck when you sketch, but then the process becomes slower and slower and more draining in a way, mentally, physically, and you start to come to, as I now have been choosing to call the skill wall, where you don't really know how to get around stuff, and you have to learn on the job in a way. Not in a way, but yeah, you know. So, of course, I have to paint what's behind the trees too. So that's the problem here. How do I go about? Because what do you call that? Not trunks. Well, greiner. I can't paint. I just have to give impressions and then go in and use smaller and smaller brushes to get in between these yeah, I should find out greiner. So it's going to be a problem. I know it's going to be a problem. I've done it once before and it was a hellish experience because my brain is tuned to wanting to paint everything you see. You know, I'm going to figure out what the fuck the name of what I'm trying to say is. Google Translate. Okay. Branches! Ah, for fuck's sake. Branches! The branches! Yeah. I have no idea why I couldn't remember that word. The branches. It's very difficult to paint them because they have a pattern that is actually made by the chaos laws of nature. You know, you have the laws of nature, the mathematics, and then you have also chaos, who creates kind of the patterns are the same, but they are never the same. It's like snowflakes, all looks the same when you see them falling, but when you go into them, it's like the fingerprints are all different. And the same as with branches and trees and blood vessels and the structures of the universe and clouds and everything in nature has this pattern to it that is basically fixed, but they are also different because into the system you have fed chaos. So you can't that is why you can't just try to paint branches. You have to get these branches to feel natural. You have to paint them in the same mathematical order and also leave open the chaos. And the way I have figured out trying to do that, especially with stuff like this where it seems totally chaotic, is to try to go over and over and over it again until the amount of touching and the amount of subjective the amount of times you touch into it actually builds the same chaos, like a wood that is thrown into the sea, and when you find it again, if you could find it again after a few years, you have all these patterns, all these things that have happened to it, and it's kind of tattooed into the structure or the patterns that the sea and the waves and the elements have created in this piece of wood. It seems to be made by something, but it actually is made by natural laws, the laws of nature and chaos. So no piece of wood would ever be the same if you threw it out into the sea again and again. If the same weight of this wood is the same. And it's the same with the whole structure of nature and the universe, that you will never get the same thing twice. I think there's a calculated how many universes you would have to make to make the same thing happen again. Because if it should happen again, you will probably have to have a universe that started out the same, and you got the same patterns in the universe all the way from the beginning of the universe, so that you could get this piece of wood to be the same as in the happening the same thing to it that in the universe before. So that's kind of how the universe works, if I'm not totally missing the point, which I'm not thinking I do. Anyway, if you could also say we could have many existences in other universes, because if infinity exists, which I'm pretty sure is a fact that we have, there is infinitely many universes, and existence only exists as a result of this existence. There is no why, or you could actually get universes where I'm standing here painting abstract, talking about basically the same thing, or you can find another universe where I was in jail for murder, or whatever, any kind of way my life could take would in some universe actually exist. In some I would be dead, in some I would be something else. I tend to think that is a silly thought, because if you have infinity, you have also infinitely many possibilities, and therefore, personally, without being a scientist, I would say that nothing will ever happen again twice, no matter how many universes you have, because you also have chaos into the system, and you can't really predict anything. Not even if you had all the causes in front of you, you couldn't actually predict that the universe would come out exactly the same, and that is because of chaos. Now, I'm not a quantum physicist, I'm an artist, and this is my own small hypothesis, and when I listen to people like Lawrence Krauss or James Carroll or some of they're talking about these things as if they were true, so or as if there could be a possibility with this multiverse where we have different existences. And they might be right and I might be just ranting and being stupid. So, yeah. Anyway, the chaos of nature, you saw now, I just painted almost without thinking or seeing. I just let myself rant and I paint, and it becomes a structure in the end out of it. I'm not sitting here, I'm not doing it. I'm just letting it flow. So, yeah. Anyway, that is how I have to paint these branches. I need to just do the main thing, and then I need to go in and just try to find a way to make them natural, because I can't paint that would take years, I think, to get it absolutely right, every single branch, and it's probably millions of them. No, not millions, but thousands of them. And that would just be stiff and rigid. Rigid, is that the right word? So it wouldn't look good anyway. So why do it? The way I tend to try to paint this is that I just do it like this, and I see where I put in more color. I can go in and see, okay, where's the biggest openings, where's the smaller openings, how does the branch is coming out here. So I just start to fill in, and I do have one landscape painting where I actually do a landscape from the graveyard in Oslo, and there I tend to think in the same way, to kind of make an impression of it. So yeah, I just do like this now to kind of, and then I will move stuff around again and again and again and again. There is a documentary about chaos theory on YouTube or Vimeo or something. It's a BBC thing. I don't remember the name of the physicist, but he's really, really good. The experience is very, very good. It's called The Secret Life of Chaos, and it is amazing. It's like about the Brandelbrock equations, how shapes repeats themselves in nature. Actually tattooed that equation. on my hand on the side here. I think it's quite fascinating. And it's also quite important to understand these things because it makes it easier to paint, because you know that if I keep on adding my I tend to call it subjective touch. Like every time you touch the canvas, you leave a trace of your own subjectivity, your own, not objectivity, but subjectivity in the brushstrokes. And your choices are manifest in your brushstrokes. And that is also why when I go to a museum and I look at art, I tend to go in and look at the textures and how it's painted, because that's where I see the traces of the artist's subjectivity. And the more subjective they are, the better it is. They can be totally different things. You can look at Vermeer, Rembrandt or Turner, which are three different kinds of painters, but you see the same intensity in the way they, or the intensity in their connection with the painting. And that is, when I see paintings like that, that is what is just knocking my feet on me. And a funny thing, I wasn't able to see these things when I started out myself, because my introspection wasn't turned on so that I could actually see or understand this. But as I grew both mentally and became a better painter, and introspection was more and more turned on, and the most important of all, my worldview changed from quasi-religious to realist, and the belief in my own subjectivity as an objective reality disappeared. I started to see things that I would never have been capable of seeing now. And that is a great thing. That is why paintings like Sick Child of Edvard Munch were just not available to me when I started out, because I didn't understand the brushstrokes and the struggle. I only understood the motif, so I wanted everything to be very flatly painted and very traditional and very impressive, like in the drawing and all that. But after you get deeper, you start to see the beauty in the small things, the brush strokes and the small choices that the artist has done. I still don't think that Scream is just a horrible painting. I don't like it at all. I have no idea why that junk became so famous, because there I just see a person who severely hungover and after drinking for years and in delirium, and I don't think it's a good painting. It's just a quick fix from a sick mind, and that is not what impresses me. But with Sick Child and some of the other Munch paintings, they are just gorgeous, so beautiful. You can see the struggle of the young Edvard Munch on the canvas. So that's how you should, if you want to see the artist, don't go see the painting, go see the artist. Yeah. The artist, you find the brush strokes and the choices made, the struggles. So yeah. See the yellows and the blue. After a while, it would be more reddish in here. Remember to see the, maybe I should put a link underneath this video, that you see the documentary, The Secret Life of Chaos. Or maybe I could even play it in the background. Yeah, maybe I should do that, play it in the background when I'm painting. So you can listen to it while I'm painting. That could be an idea. But then again, I always come into this, there's some music in it, and I come into that problem with copyright, and they demonetize or delete my videos, and that's annoying. If it was up to me, I wish I could have used more documentary stuff as a soundbite in my painting videos, because I also like that people learn stuff about reality and the beauty of nature and the beauty of the universe and just fucking beauty. To know can make us better people. I'm pretty sure it makes me into a better person. A more thoughtful and deeper person, more empathy, more as I say, introspection, more self-doubt, which is a very good thing for artists to have. And self-criticism, oh, that is so important. Oh, there's a lot of yellows here, there's trees behind there. Funny, I'm not feeling I'm talking to myself, I'm feeling I'm talking to people. Maybe that should be a little bit lower. A little bit lower. I need a coffee. Yeah, I need a coffee. And then you can use the mirror and you can actually compare. And it wasn't so bad. So, I have coffee. So, okay, I will now continue with this work and see. Now I will try to go into a little bit more detail down there. Not detail, but a little bit more. Some trees and some buildings and stuff behind there. And yeah. I'll also make a fast forward tutorial, which maybe people can see more how fast it goes, how it's kind of built in step by step, so you don't have to listen to me all the time. A lot of things happening in there's some ice, there's some open water, and of course water reflects the sky and the light and the clouds, and yeah, so there's a lot happening. Actually, the woman who wanted this painted, she looked at many options, but I figured this was the best one, the most beautiful one. Not the easiest one to paint actually, because of the trees and stuff. It would be much easier if we could remove the trees. It would be much easier to paint, because then it would just be the sky, and of course that can be difficult too, but not like trees. Trees are really difficult. So, because of what I explained in the beginning. Yeah. Into the trance, I guess. I didn't go out today. Saturday night, because I have so much to do, and as an artist, it's very important to keep up the pace, and it's funny, it's kind of, I'm getting more and more conscious of what I'm doing. when it comes to paint. So in the foreground it's more Prussian blue since it becomes more warm in the background. I can also see some greens and many different types of blues and greens. And that was also one of the things I found very fascinating with this. It had so many different hues of the different colors from the yellow to the green. Yeah, so it's quite exciting. There is a branch. There's a branch going here, down, and it goes all the way down here. And there's one over here, they're quite thick, starts there, comes back out there. And that is just to kind of get it in there, so I can start working around it with all the small. I'm going to try to focus a little bit closer when I'm getting more deeper into it. There's also some orange light hitting the branches there, so it's quite nice contrast. Really like it. There. Also some greenish in that, so I need some yellow. Actually it's more like a yellow, it's not, it's a warmer color compared to the more reddish there. And there's also a branch coming out there. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening in this. There's some yellow lights coming here. This building, trees, yellow lights. Low sun. Looks like morning sun actually. Not the evening sun. Yeah, it's morning sun. Or is it? Yeah, it has to be. Or it will come from that way. It was the woman who took these pictures herself. And, one of the reasons I can actually paint commission like that from other people's photographs is that it is up to what I like to paint, or what is in the range of what I'm doing. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't do portraits with a blitz and teeth hanging out. That I wouldn't do. I did one portrait once. There was a son of one of our neighbors, and a nice guy, and his son sadly died in a motorcycle accident. Young guy. Had actually survived cancer, and then he died in this accident. It's just tragic. And I did one that was taken from Blitz on Christmas Eve, portrait. It became quite nice, but I struggled unbelievably with that Blitz and that lack of the type of skin color or light, sculptural classic light that I actually usually work with. So it was really a struggle. It became quite nice, so but it was a real struggle. So now I'm building thick. There's some clouds here. So, and it also takes away time from commission work. Also takes time from the 24 big paintings I have sketched up in my studio. Huge paintings that I has kind of postponed. And that is kind of, sometimes it is, we have a lot of expenses, and I don't make any prints, so I don't have this. I get quite good prices for my paintings, I do that, but they have to be painted, and there's a lot of expenses. So you have expensive framing, and you have to pay taxes in this country. And studio, I just bought my studio a few months ago. That's a good thing. So, but we have expenses. So sometimes I do things like that. But it's also interesting, so it's an interesting motive. It is a luxury to be able to live from doing artwork. It is really a luxury. It is, Christians would call it a blessing. No, I don't believe in any gods, so to me it's just not even, maybe it's a lucky thing. Luck doesn't come into it because everything is actually chance. Even meeting the different people you meet during a lifetime is just chance. So luck is not, it's better to see the process as one thing takes another, and the sum of it leads you to certain points, and at some point you can actually take over this process and lead yourself into directions you want. But then you have to become very conscious of of course what you want and all the pitfalls that will stop you. And I might feel sometimes that I saw these pitfalls a little bit late, and if I saw them, even listened to my parents or mother and did focus better than I did, I would have been able to gotten even further. I could have probably have doubled my production this last 20 years if I weren't so unfocused. But then again, I've done some nice things, but I could have done much more. What's important now is what I'm doing with my last 30 years in existence. If I use it to put it to some purpose. And as I said to a friend the other night, is that probably gonna have a hip replacement surgery to get into shape again. I want my flexibility back and train taekwondo like I used to, and seems like but I know also that one can die by a blood clot, or there's a statistics for death during an operation like that. So I think I want to try to write my books first. I have a biography, and I have another book in my head called The Human Condition. It's going to be filled up with paintings about all kinds of topics, everything from science to porn to war to politics, all kinds of politics and all kinds of different topics and stuff that is happening in the world, things we do. And I want to write that, not necessarily I want to read it, but I want to have it written. And I would like to take all my diaries, and have a lot of diaries I wrote, and put them into a book, so it doesn't just disappear, because it actually tells the story of quite a long struggle. So anyway, and I want to write Falling, a love story about when I fell in love, and 5 years ago, and lost my free will. Strange. Anyway, that might be a part of the human condition. So, I'm starting to build now, a little bit more. I could do like many artists do. I could stand here and go in all the details at once. Actually, it isn't necessary. Just build on. It's oil paint, and you can build on everything all the time. Just keep on piling on paint until. So in a way, it is impressionist painting. There's some ducks there. I'm just going to paint them in now. Maybe I should. The ducks. They're not going to look like ducks. It's just going to be. There's some rocks coming in there. Like this, and the ducks are around here. things happening. I can't paint birds with shadows. I told the woman that if I'm gonna take all the details, it needs to be a big painting. And of course she had to pay much more for that. But it's also very nice, so I could actually be tempted to take this painting, this photo, and paint a huge landscape from it, because it has all the things that I find fascinating. Now there's a lot of yellows and greens in the foreground. There's there's a lot of ducks here, so they keep eating probably everything. And I guess this is, maybe it is fall or spring, I don't know actually. I'm gonna ask her. And there's some green. Some tree trunks here that are cut off, and it also has branches, and everything in nature is built on the same principle. You can look at rivers kind of when they flow over the landscape, and they have the same kind of structure as veins or the neurons in our heads, or whenever you see the branches on trees, it's the same thing over and over and over, and it's so beautiful when you see this. I feel a little sad for Stephen Hawking that he didn't find that unifying theory for gravity before he died. I mean, he had such a strange life. It would be maybe there is no answer to the why questions, only the answers to the how questions. So maybe there is no how. Well, there is a how, but you can't really get to the beginning of things with the how. You can only explain that it is. Maybe. Because the universe, our universe, is probably just one of infinitely many, and it could be so boring that there is only one kind of physical law in all these universes, or as some say, many different. And in some universes there are no life or possibility for matter to form. And some last for seconds, and some collapse in themselves or never really get going. The laws of gravity is a little bit different. You will suddenly not be able to create any mass. If the Higgs boson isn't there, something. So probably never know. For sure anyway. One thing is totally certain. There was no being that started infinity. Because infinity simply doesn't start. is just there. Or existence. And concrete to say existence doesn't really start. It has to be some potential for something for it to exist, like the quantum soup or the multiverse or something. But that there should be a conscious being that were roaming around in infinity, both ways, both before we were born and after, creating beings like us for no particular reason at all. It's hard to see how a being like that should be able to exist at all, actually. Or for that matter, for us to live infinite or indefinitely. It just doesn't compute for me. Can't see it happen. The funny thing is that emotionally it's very hard for me too, to accept the fact that I'm on death row and that it will, for me, not for a long time. It's not long into the future. I will not be anymore. There is a date on my schedule where I will actually cease to exist. That's a bitch. Yeah. Okay. That was a 1 hour rant and sketch. After this I will start to focus on shorter bursts of when it comes to filming, because I can't film. This is the easy part, okay? This is the part where I relax, and after this I have to start molding and forming everything into what it is supposed to be. Tree trunk. I'm becoming such an impressionist. Maybe that's a natural for any painter to become more and more conscious of the brushstrokes, and then kind of go deeper and deeper into that, and the feeling of the paint. Then again, to only paint like this would be, to me, a cop-out. So it's a nice sketch. Even I would agree to that. But it's not finished work. So much, as I say, it's so much happening in the sky and all over the place in this painting. So the branches are so clear, so much in the front, so it's going to be really gonna fuck with me, I know that. They're really gonna fuck with me. Green up there because the light, boom, kind of hits that tree. Huh. So the sun would come. Yeah, it comes from under. It's in. Nice. It's here. Just put in this so I have something to work. It was a little bit too much, but so many things happening. It's so difficult to get it all right in one go. Let's see, like this. Thing is, I have to keep working, putting in the things, then work over. So it will be a tirade of different. This is the part where I really have to focus like crazy. And it's gonna be nice. Find the right spots. This is very important. In the middle there, up here. The branch comes out like this, goes up here, comes a branch down here. Goes down like this, in here, and it goes here. There's some down there. No, what grantre? No, I would call this grantre. I don't know what it's called in English. It's not leaves on them, it's kind of needles. Probably know what I mean. Grantrer. It's two different dialects. In Oslo, where I live now, they say grantrer. Yeah, where I come from, they say grantrer. So we're using r, not r. I can't even say it. It's funny to have so many dialects in this small country. It's 5 million people. Sometimes I feel there's a dialect for every small town, small place, and everybody's just clinging to their small-minded identity that I believe is their dialect and stuff. You know, it's not a dialect you speak that is your identity. It is what you think is your identity, and that is extremely important to understand, because you're getting deluded by everything from nationalism to this local nationalism and identification with a certain group that is speaking the same dialect or language or whatever. You know, humans are humans, period. And our identity is linked to common goals and history and genetics and biology. So take in information and be as open-minded as you possibly can without your brain falling off, so you start believing in religious bullshit and healing and tantras and other stupid shit that you don't really need in your life. So, almost there. Okay, I'm just going to put in some shadows here. So much happening, and I'm getting kind of tired now. Yeah, I think this should be good for now. Yeah, now you see it's a limit to what I can do here, because you can't really absorb much more paint. So it's just going to turn into a horrible mess if I continue. And I want it to be open. I want it to be rough and open. And boom. Yeah, wrong. Now I'm starting to fuck it up. Stop in time, you moron. Don't go too far. Yes. Yeah, will do. Say yeah, looks nice on the distance. Just wish I could. Oh, yeah, there we go. See, I've done some. It's kind of lumpy. It's not really. It could be more. See, this one should be there, and there should be some open sky here. Makes it more dynamic. But then again, when I have put on, it's hard to get this up to going to be. So, because now I see I'm starting to mix in colors and start to become a little bit dirtied up and stuff, so it's kind of pointless to add more. So, yeah, that was better. Could have had some more light behind there. Now I'm into that thing, I can't tear myself away from it. And that is when I should tear myself away from it. Anyway, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So, till next time. Have fun. Okie dokie dokie. It's not totally dry yet, so I'm just gonna add more color to it. And yeah. Try to build some nuances. You see now, you get some more pure color into it, some deeper. It's more greenish. It's funny, when it's summer, the oil colors are drying faster, and it actually can be a good thing, but you have to be more alert when it comes to washing your pencils. Now I'm gonna go through here and build some more light, and then I'm gonna go over it again. It's so difficult inside there, but I have to, as I said earlier, I need to think, or not think actually, when I paint this. Not think at all. I need to go into that. Well, of course I have to think, but I want to be able to do this, all the branches on the intellectual scale, because it needs intuition, deep intuition, to get it right. Some more yellow. So then I use my Prussian blue. And you can also mix different blues, because you have a primary blue, but what is that actually? Is the most common blue, or is it, you know what it means, like what is what? See, it becomes more depth. I wonder how long it would take me to paint one painting. I do not have an approximate, but I think just putting on the camera. Maybe I will do it on YouTube. Maybe I will do some maybe once a month or something that I do stream. Just put the camera on and let it stream for hours, maybe 12 hours or something, or where I sketch a bigger painting, and then next time I take the same painting and I do layer number 2, do this long, extremely long. Yeah, that could be, because I can actually, but then I have to forget that there is a camera, or I won't be able to go deep into that flow. I just have to put up the camera, and then I will not talk. It'll just be me, the painting, and especially interested people who will bother seeing it. And you can also save them to YouTube, so that's a good thing. So you can actually, people are gonna go in later. But that should be a big painting. Maybe I should do that once a week, maybe, and just build not once a week, maybe too often. Once a month. No, that will be, well, take one painting, and every time I paint it, I will stream it. That could actually be, so you can actually see live the whole struggle. It would be hours upon hours upon hours with painting. Maybe we could even answer questions. Maybe I could be able to have a stream where I also answer questions. But it will be hard for me to finish a painting if I should talk, because it is almost like talking and painting. It is almost like writing and talking at the same time, doing tasks that collides in the brain. It's not like talking and writing, or reading and talking at the same time. It's two different things, but you kind of, the one thing disturbs the other. I mean, even talking becomes hard when I go into the flow, and then painting gets harder if I pop out of the flow. So I keep on going back and forth there, and it's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, I'll see what I do. Right now I have a lot to do, so I need to finish a lot of stuff I should have been finished with a month ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, right? Because I have been in pain, winter depression, all kinds of shit. But I should snap out of it and do my job. Do what I love. This is not a job, it's what I love. See, now I'm kind of becoming better. Becoming more clouds and more sky. I haven't been eating enough lately, so so many colors that are competing in this painting. So I'm so glad, because I can see how I can do it. Impressionist painting. Yeah, I need to go a little bit more. To be closer. Oh, it seems too stiff. You see, I just put on very thick colors, and you will get that powerful feeling of lights. Yeah, I actually want to make a small video or a video tutorial with documentary in the background with Brian Cox about the universe that I saw on the internet today. So I'm going to make 1 hour video flow and I paint this, but this will be posted as a whole video when I'm finished. So you see how it evolves quite quickly, but then it goes deeper and deeper into detail, and yeah, you see what happens. Okay, so been working for a while. I actually made a small video with some science stuff while I was painting, and I'm gonna post that video separately from this one. It's a painting flow with Brian Cox and a basically how the universe works and what's the fate of the universe and stuff like that. So, it's quite fun. I love science. Science is so beautiful. Brian Cox is also one of my favorite spokesmen for science. I don't think he does so much science anymore, but the work he does can be compared to people like Carl Sagan and stuff like that. I think I might also make, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make one, another science thing about, but I'll see, yeah. Maybe one is enough, you know. Oh. Now, what I'm doing now is I'm starting to go into this chaos thing. I'm trying to pick up piece by piece. I'm not trying to paint. Sometimes I try to line up some branches and stuff, but what I'm doing now is that I have to try to catch every spot and just keep on adding and moving and adjusting until it kind of starts to look like what I'm looking at. Because if you try to paint every branch and everything in this, you won't succeed. It will look stiff and fake and horrible in the end. It won't feel natural. So what you have to do is try to repeat or just pick up piece by piece, like the impressionist, and just keep adding and just detracting and adding. And the good thing about oil paint here is that you actually can, I need to make that video about chaos too, actually, because you have to understand chaos theory. I was talking about this earlier in this video. You have to understand how universe are created. The universe and nature are through the mathematical laws are creating the different shapes to be able to understand the best way to approach it, because as I said, it would be totally impossible for me to try to draw every branch. Of course you could, maybe one could do it. There are people who might be able to. I'm not sure. It's like trying to paint every single hair on a person's head. And that will be basically, I think, impossible. Now I see also this has to be higher up because this is lower down. So I start to kind of pick up the different things piece by piece here. And when I go away from it, it starts to look like a branch. And then I have to move around other stuff. Then I start to see that it's wrong. So even a small painting like this, takes quite a while to finish because of this. So, yeah. trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. And there's going to be an opening here. And this one is lower down. Or this is lower up. Yeah, basically here. It's almost, when I'm talking now, it's almost like I can hear my brain talk out loud. I'm going to move this up. And there is a thin branch coming down here, very thin one. This one too is too far out, this will be lower down. And that's the good thing about oil paints. It becomes a little bit messy now when I'm moving stuff around like this. But then again, it gives me texture to the next layer, so I also gain something, and that is how I prefer to paint. And it's funny, I wouldn't have been thinking like this at all in the beginning, but now it's so natural for me, and it's kind of great. I wanted to start doing more landscapes and stuff, especially trees. I would like to paint some spacescapes. I'd like to try that, some of the most beautiful pictures from our wonderful telescopes. Just to try it, see if I can make it come alive. It's been quite difficult because there's a lot of stars and oh my God, it's full of stars. 2001. The movie. Funny, even I think it's starting to become quite nice. Nah, that was kind of too much. I don't think I focused. I'm actually getting tired now. I've been working for a few hours. I didn't get so much sleep last night. So I guess I need to think about my beauty sleep. When you are 50, you have to be more careful. It really affects my face when I haven't been sleeping enough. It starts to look like it. Getting closer and closer. There's a lot of overpaint, spots and spots and spots, and then it's okay. I went very silent now because I was concentrating. Isn't that funny? So this is what happens when I just fall into my trance. It is a little bit harder because I have this arthritis pain in my left hip, so it kind of keeps me on my, it kind of keeps me a little bit too much in the physical realm. So I'm looking forward to, well, I'm losing weight now, so maybe that will help. We'll see. I've been up to 84 kilos. I'm like 79 now, and I would like to go down to about 72. Maybe I have a little bit too much muscle to do that, but we'll see. And then maybe my hips won't feel so sore because I don't have so much weight to carry around. But I guess I will have to change my hip. Become a cyborg at some point. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, it actually starts to fall into place. Now it's a long way from finished, but I think it will end well. I had some salmon, vegetables before I go to sleep, so I get good brain food to evolve my brain. It's very important what you eat to keep the brain healthy. Also exercise so that you can be the best version of yourself at any level. Some stones out here, and a seagull here, some birds out here. I mean, they're so small, you can't even, the ducks here will be a challenge because they are so small. But I'll use the same technique and just keep on shifting stuff around. It's nice to do this work because I can actually see the see how I use the color circle, of my knowledge about color very actively in this. There's a cloud here and there. And here. Yeah, it's not so bad. So, yeah. It's so hard to tear myself away from this. It's like when I'm in it, it's just grips me and holds me tight, and you just want to continue, and that is so nice. What a nice feeling, but also frustrating. I like these long ones too, because I actually get some distance. Easier for me to pick it up, pick up the details. Yeah, it's very dark there and down. There's a lot of shit happening in between. yeah, I'm gonna stop now. Almost now. No wonder why my videos are always becoming so long. Yeah. When I kind of like this with my eyes now, it's actually starting to look like that motif. Okay. Motif. Don't forget any pencils. That's fucked. Anyway. Such a slob. So, okay. So, there we go. This. I'm gonna try to start working on some detail. I'm gonna start down in the dark. Start here, so I can get some oversight of it. See, yeah, just do the first brush stroke here, and then I just have to see different lights. And it's very small. It could actually be a big painting. It's almost a shame that I didn't get to paint bigger stuff, bigger, but it is a commissioned work, and I cannot paint the things that, the sizes that people want. I have a lot of stuff coming up. I have so much to do, so I need to start saving some money, not use too much, so I can not be distracted of money and stuff like that. It's kind of annoying when you have to be distracted by stuff. But anyway, it's nice to know that people come to me when they want something painted, so that's a good thing. Anyway, so what can I say? I just keep painting, trying to get the things right here. You see, it's unless you are standing close to the photograph, it's actually hard to see how the buildings are and stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be that detailed, but it has to be correct. And that is what I'm looking for. Slow roll there. Okay, comes down there. And this. Okay. Just see how the light falls. Seems to be okay. Mm-hmm. So I used a medium to wash my pencil, so the medium just get into the paint in that way. There's always some leftovers in the brush, despite that I washed most of it off. So but in the end, I'm painting quite dry. Yeah, this one is lower. So is this one. The skyline has to be correct. There's some clouds here. They stand very nicely against the yellow. So it's quite hot in Oslo this summer. I haven't seen much summer because I didn't get done so much work during the winter. That's sad. See. Mm-hmm. This has to be kind of loose, and that's why I do like this. Just kind of keep my hand quite light. So so trying to do some intermittent fasting to get my body over into ketosis and war mode, as they call it, to force it to not to be so inflated. My arthritis after training years tend to flare up if I eat too much sugar or stuff like that. So I try to keep it down by putting my body into repair mode. Well, it kind of works. So. Anyway, blah 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 about painting. It's quite hard to concentrate about painting when you're in pain. So I have to get something done with that. Just gonna keep working on it and film a little bit more later. Yeah. Kind of cold yellow light. Okie dokie dokie. I think it's becoming quite nice. I have been working all over and I still have details left, but I'm kind of inching myself towards something nice. Yeah. Now it's all of these I was talking about earlier, and that I have to kind of create this chaotic but reasonable but this illusion of the branches and stuff without making it stiff, without drawing too much, and that is just to kind of go in and add more and more impressions. So I just look and I see something and I place it, and then I place something more, and maybe I see some light coming through that, and then I go for the lighter color, and of course bring it up again. I need some more white actually. Titanium white, old holland titanium. So that is basically the whole process, kind of doing it over and over and over until it's kind of falls into place by all the times I have been touching it, and it starts to feel natural instead of static and drawn, like many especially people who are just started out painting. I did it myself. They kind of start to try to draw all the branches in a tree and try to draw every hair on somebody's head, and of course that is not possible in any way. Of course a photorealist will go to a certain length to make an impression of that in a photographic way, but that is not me. I'm not after that expression anyway. I want it to be as a this is a landscape, and I kind of like the more loose impressionist style. And I see how it is, and I go away from it, and it kind of starts to feel like starts to feel like it's supposed to feel. It's a tedious work, painting, and if you're going to be a painter, you have to be willing to, and I have to do that myself. I have to reevaluate everything I do, especially now when I'm actually not that young anymore, and I don't have the time to throw away a lot of time on TV series and stupid movies and stuff like that. My painting has to come first, and then everything else will have to take a secondary stage, because this is the most important thing to me, except for my parents and my daughter and stuff like that. But yeah, for me this is life itself, and if I don't do it I get miserable. Distractions doesn't work for me anymore. I don't want to be distracted. I feel pain, physical pain, when I am distracted from creative work or doing good works. So, and that is the worst kind of pain. I need to feel engaged, and yeah. You see, now I just kept some of it all the way back there. I'm going to do some close-ups before I close down, but I want to do some work down here now, because that is where there's some ducks and stuff, and I don't really know how to do that. It's quite difficult, really. So I will, maybe I should move even closer so you can see. Yeah, I can do that. Move a little bit closer so you can actually see what I'm doing here. Okay, so this is the water, and there are some houses, and there too we tend to go for symbols, and if I look at it and I don't think that there are houses there or buildings, it's just spots of light actually, and that makes it much easier. Just spots of light. It's not a house, it's just a spot of light that is the same thing as here. And if you can think like that and just add in what you see, you will actually be able to do it. If you start to think about it as houses, and you won't be able to, because it will become very static and not good at all, actually. Yeah. Uh-huh. Maybe I should start holding painting courses for people. I've been asked about doing that, but Canada doesn't feel right. But maybe I should. But I'm not that organized, so then you have to organize stuff, you have to advertise, you have to do a lot of shit that is not really what I want to spend my time on. But then again, I kind of like to interact with people, and I'm a sucker for conversation, so and I think I have things that can actually help people become better painters. It's more about how to think and how to... Some flies here. Horrible. The horror. I'm always adjusting stuff, you know. It's like, oh, that tree was a little bit too high, or that shape, not tree, but shape. And then I just go in and I just, adjust it like this. And you can drag it over so we get that more lucid feeling. Not static. The thing is, sometimes I think, would I like this painting if I saw it in a museum or a gallery? And I'm not sure, actually. Or not just this, but all of my paintings, I'm not that confident, so... And I'm not able to stand on the outside and look in a way. So it is a difficult thing to judge one's own, unless you're a megalomaniac, that some kind of sociopath who think that everything you do is just fucking great, and there are a lot of those out there, sorry to say. Artists without any introspection, without any shame, without any regard for the beauty of art history and stuff like that. And kind of sometimes pisses me off, actually, because there's so much beauty out there. So much beauty. And yeah. I don't have a girlfriend right now. And as I say, I had my share, so I don't feel I've actually missed anything. But I should, if I then could spend all my time, all my energy on this, I don't think I would need anything more than that in my life. I would be kind of content if I could just focus, travel a little bit and just flow into the sunset. Yeah. When I was smaller, actually. So you see, I started to figure out where things were supposed to be. This. And yeah. this one is smaller there. So just move it, and I just build it up again with impressionist colors. So, like this. Yes. As I usually joke about this, like my paintings are the moment after. The house is actually quite big, and I wasn't going to look at it as a house, but I guess now I do anyway. Okay, and there's some trees and some bees. Okay, so like this, and trees everywhere, covering this landscape behind there. And now I'm getting into the water here, and there's a lot of this kind of shines down from the sky, from the clouds, and I mustn't go too far for the deep end. I just need to give the impression of it without falling off. Tone that down a little bit because it's way too blue, so I lost some of the depth, and yeah. See how loose I paint, that kind of just touching it, and in a way I put it on top of the other colors, so the other colors kind of shines through. Oops. Oh, gods. Need some more medium. And I seriously need to do some yoga. Okay. Been standing around for a long time now. And my legs starts to hurt a little bit. Last year I had this exhibition and I was painting for 26 hours straight, and in the end my legs just stopped working, or my hips exactly. It was so painful that I couldn't walk in the stairs. So that was crazy. Oh. So much beauty. So much beauty. The ducks. Oh, what a cliche. Couldn't I gotten a photo without the ducks? Some ducks here, you know, they have a head, and a beacon, and a body, and there is a shine from one of them here. There's one here with the beak down, and I just have to kind of, yeah, it looked like a duck, didn't it? Duck. Yeah. And of course you can work around them, like this. Arms them. There's a rock. So now this too, you know, you start out with a landscape like this and you think you're going to be able to do it quite quickly because it's not that advanced, and then you realize that you are so mistaken, and it keeps growing and growing and growing, and in the end you just go all the way in a way. So that is why the time I spend on painting has to be, it should be at least 10 hours a day. And it's hard to get there because it seems like there's some part of the painting process or getting into the work that is actually physically, or not necessarily physically, but it is painful in some way. And before you get into the flow, it is like try to avoid it, and it's funny, it's almost like, as I said before probably, it's almost like you should avoid having sex because it demands an effort from you. I can understand that people, well, I can't understand because I love exercise. If I could, I would exercise all the time because it keeps me high. But you can't, and that is one of the reasons why I got my injuries in my hips, because I never stopped. I just kept on going and going and going and going. And in the end, I just used up my legs, basically. And but if I could exercise, train strength training, taekwondo, boxing, whatever, all the time, I would, because it gives such a kick. It's basically like, does the same to me like sex and alcohol, and despite that painting gives some of the same feeling, it is more stressful to get started. I always wonder why is it so hard to do painting all the time or getting started. And there is some part of this process that actually is painful, and I have located it. It is, in a way, the time it takes you from not doing it to being deep deep, deep in it. Because when you get down into it, it is really just a place you could stay infinitely. So I find that weird. But then again, also a question about training your brain. If you exercise your brain to do this all the time, it actually gets easier. And it's like the more distractions, the harder it gets. The more you do it, the easier it is. And it is also that with training and stuff. So, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway. I hope my rants actually make sense to you. It would be nice if you commented on it. Ask me some questions maybe. Because it is... I just keep repeating myself. In, of course, different variations, but if you could ask me some questions, I would actually be able to address them more directly. Yeah. This was way too big. So I saw that now. So that's what I do. I keep moving stuff around. Yeah. Some greenish here. There's some icy, you know. It is icy morning in Haugesund, Norway. And I know how this weather actually feels. So it's kind of moist but cold at the same time. And there's a moss, I think it's called moss in English, on the ground, moss. It's kind of a strange plant that doesn't grow high. Anyway, I'm just going to keep painting and film a little bit more later. I hope you got something out of it. So here we go. Now I'm gonna do basically the last layer of color on this. I thought I was actually finished, but then I made it rest for a while and I realized that I could actually give it another go. So I will do the usual. I actually had one layer of retouché vernis on this just now, because I wanted to see if I was going to give it a lasur or not. And I'm actually going to do it, so that would mean I will tear down everything again and bring it back up. So there's also always I would say exciting, strange experience doing that, because it leaves everything open and it also gives all the textures more address. I actually love how the colors then pops out and show me, in a way, the brush strokes that is kind of hidden for me before I do this. I see now all the textures. This has been this is difficult, really difficult with a tree because of the leaves. Not leaves, but branches, and yeah, you know what I mean. The needles. It is a needle tree, not a leaf tree. Seagull. I guess it's a seagull, yeah, that is. I think they were brought to Norway from the United States or something, I heard, to be used as timber. But the timber is not as good, I heard. So they actually basically almost stopped using it, so now it's just growing like crazy all over Norway. My home Iceland, Karmøy used to, this is from Haugesund though, was covered in 8 oak trees. Old oak, almost like in the Lord of the Rings. They cut them all down. Almost no oak to be found. And made ships of them, probably in the 1800s. Sold it to Europe, the oaks from Karmøy. I guess probably what the Vikings always also used when they were building their boats. The oak. I love trees. I love things that grows. Yeah, it sounds brutal, doesn't it? It is brutal. And you see, I'm just getting it back. I'm just going in there, and I just... Turner actually used his nails. He had his nails. A story about him. How dirty his nails were. After all the paints. You can also use the back side of a pencil, kind of scrape it down like this, crisscross over it. So it's not going to be. I'm not after getting any perfect result from on close up. I'm more interested in the visual effect I get when I move back from it. I'm going to start right here. So I'm going to focus a little bit here. You see what I'm doing. I'm just going to turn off the camera and turn it back on again. So here we go. Now I'm trying to work around here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm going to start with some smaller pencil. These are good. And I start with the light right here. The good thing about the retouche furnace is that it kind of stays more in there when you don't have the furnace on. It kind of becomes a little bit more fluid. So Yeah. So you can try it out yourself. First you put on the retouché finesse, wait for a couple of minutes, and then you do the lasure, or maybe, and then you see what happens. You don't want the lasure to be totally dry. You want it kind of to absorb also some of the oil color and fuse with the oil color. Yeah. See now? Boom. It's coming straight out. And now I can start to shape the clouds. And they kind of become I hate that fucking word. I'm saying that all the time. It's so annoying. Want to keep some textures to keep it alive. There are some yellows here. Here. Some cadmium yellow. And of course it's the old Holland paint. You see now, it kind of mixes in with the blue and the other colors. And the places I want to keep it down like this, keeps itself down. And it kind of pops out because I work around it. And I get the, what we call it, the night watch effect. Maybe I should just call it the night watch effect. I haven't seen the night watch yet. I need to go to the Netherlands and see that painting soon. Maybe I should make a video while I'm looking at it. Yeah. And here's also very yellow. And the yellow goes down to the water, or the ice on the water. And it's quite important to try to see the whole thing as not actually clouds. Don't see it as houses, don't see it as trees. Just try to see what colors in it and try to repeat the nuances, but not what you see. You just try to interpret the shapes, and the shapes are made by the colors and nuances. So you just try to repeat that, and if you come close to what's in the photo or the motif, you're standing outside or whatever, then you have, in a way, at least succeeded a little bit. Yeah, I think that is reddish actually. Oops. Some crab black. Yellow and violets. And I will try to remove the line with going in like this, and I will also paint over it, so I go into that line there. And cannot let it fuse together like this. And then I go in here again, and I keep on going back and forth until the whole thing just fuses together. So you get that natural feel to it. Yeah, something, if you guess, if you see what I mean. So you see now the clouds, it just pops out because I'm painting all the light around it, so that just comes right up. And yeah, of course I also can go on top of it, so I tone it down a little bit. But it's also good to have a little bit somewhere where it is a little bit more drawn, so that you actually see, you get that, I call it Da Vinci effect, when you see how he uses the lines to light and harder to get that diversity in nuances and thickness and of the lines and the shadows and stuff. His was actually brilliant. That's why I see him as one of the great artists that you can use as an objective standard when you trying to learn. Copy his drawings, copy his paintings. Don't copy the motif. That is not, the motif is just what you're trying to copy or reproduce is the paint and the nuances. And if you keep doing that, the motif will just pop out. But usually what we do in the beginning when we paint is that we immediately start trying to see the motif, and we don't really understand that the secret is the paint, how it's painted. Took me years to understand that. I kind of understood it, but it has to sink in. I knew it on a certain level, but it takes years before it really sinks in, and before you're really starting to notice what's important. And if there's one thing I'm able to learn people, is just that. What's actually important and how to focus. Yeah, it has to be more. But that is more toned down than that. You do like this, and you see that it's more toned down. It's not the same. It's a reflection, so it has more depth in the color, usually. If it's a clear water, and then it can be hard to see it, especially at night and stuff like that, if you have a reflection. But usually if you really look, the reflection will be a little bit toned down compared to the source of the light and the colors. It's not all the same. That's my experience anyway. Maybe somebody disagrees with me. As Christopher Hitchens once did say, if you disagree with me, you can stand in line, pick a number and kiss my ass. No, I'm just joking. I actually try to listen to people. I have to try very hard though, because I'm not a good listener, so I'm too fond of talking. So. And right now I can talk to you as much as I want without being cut off. It's just brilliant. I can't focus though, so it has its price. I did a lot of mistakes there, just a mush now. Just have to do it like this. Ah, that's what I was after. You see that? So, I can't, yeah. I think I'm gonna cut it off now, and I'm gonna paint for a few hours, and then I'm gonna come back to you and show you what happened. Maybe something good happened. Maybe something bad happened. This whole summer has been a struggle for me because I was supposed to be finished with a lot of paintings a long time ago. But then I had a lot of pain in my arthritis, and that leads to kind of fatigue and depression. And there were times this winter that and also this summer, that I sometimes feel like I just want to stay in my bed and eat chocolate pudding for the rest of my life. But that is not the way to go. If you have ambition, you have to get up, you have to go to the gym, you have to do the right things, and you have to make the right choices in what you do and what you eat and what, yeah, everything. So, don't give up. It's funny, I've been in ketosis for a while, and the pain has become different. It's not gone away, but it's different. I don't have that much inflammation. So I'm going to keep on that road. I just went down 6 kilos. And I'm going to go down 5 or 6 more, and hopefully I'm going to feel better. And then my paintings is going to become better. Because when I feel great, my paintings get better. Blah blah blah. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to paint and see what happens. Okay, here we are again. Now, this painting is really trying to destroy me because I am going back and forth with all these small details, and they keep fighting me. It's really hard for me to get this right. There was a person who had bought a painting on me, who said, a friend of mine actually, who said something about a painting he bought from me a couple of years ago. And he said when he looked at it, it felt like I had tried to go through the wall. And I think I know what he's saying, because my approach is not academic in any way. It is more intuitive, and I never actually become pleased, or there's always something missing, I feel, or something that could be better. So I keep trying, I keep working and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And I think it is that thing, when you push it, that is when you get into the extremely subjective realm, and it shows in the painting. The struggle shows in the painting. The want, need, the intensity of the battle is shown. There's so many times that I have actually took paintings that I almost finished and I just had to destroy them or paint over it or do it all over again or something because of this almost neurotic approach to it. But it's a good thing. I think it keeps me honest and it keeps me struggling. Like this here, I thought maybe I could. I'm trying so hard to get to feel natural, and it's so hard to reach it because the nuances and stuff is so small. And they just keep piling on. You need to get it to become natural. So important to me. And it's so hard with these needles. Because they are fooling my eyes. I saw something up there. And of course, basically these things is only me that see. So you could ask why struggle so much. But it's the way I am. And both my brother and parents and also my daughter are in a way honest in that way. I think it's kind of genetic that you have this self-critical voice in your head that is tormenting you into trying to always do the best you can, when other people maybe would have stopped and been pleased with it way much before. So, then again, what is art without a struggle? Kitsch. Why do you paint like that? It's so obsolete. Well, you fucking try it. It's really difficult. And yeah. Trying to get this to I think it's starting to kind of feel. What's most important is that on a distance you get this feeling of, what kind of tree it is. And I think I'm kind of getting there. I want to put in these ducks. It is funny because it is a commissioned work, and I should have been. I was actually finished with it, and I started up again. Just adjust some stuff, and then boom, stuck for another week. And there is something with it because when you work hard, there's also something in you that tries to avoid the work because it's so exhausting that you are walking around there like a wolf on a fly. I can't get rid of that fucking fly. Been spraying it 5 times until now and it just won't die. I think it's immune to pesticide at this point. That was funny. There was a cat that came into my studio. It's a big place, so it's a lot of hiding places. And I thought I had gotten it out, but it had been hiding. So this morning, after 3 or 4 days, it was standing in my stairs, crying, meow, all dried up, and hadn't had any food for a long time, the poor bastard. Yeah. Anyway, I was actually should have been going away on vacation to my parents and I don't know, home to my home Iceland, Kalmey. I would have been dead when I came back. Starved to death. That would have been fun. Another cat I could paint. Dead cat would be something. I guess the neighbors would have heard it cry and it would have maybe broken through the door or something. And of course I wouldn't have minded that. I mean, the suffering it would endure wouldn't have been nice at all. So even I would have felt something for the poor bastard. I'm not that much of a cat person. I like dogs because they are smarter and you can communicate with them. So I'm a dog person myself. Thus my father has a bunch of cats in my home Iceland. Because he doesn't bother having a dog. Which for him would actually be a good thing to have a dog because he loves dogs. So anyway, I'm not a cat person. I had a cat once and I treated it like a dog. So in the end I got to sit and be quiet and sit still in the car and everything. So yeah, you can actually teach cat stuff too, but it takes a hell of a longer time. Because they're fucking stupid. And that cat, when I was going to get it out, it actually run down the stairs instead of out when I was kind of getting out of a place he had been hiding. So I had to chase it around in my studio before. And I wasn't really sure it has gone out, but I haven't heard it cry anymore, so I guess it's outside now. Or it's dead. Well, anyway. It's probably outside. It's a sweet cat anyway. It hangs out in the backyard and runs into all the other people's apartments. Okay, blah blah blah. Back to painting. I don't know why I go into these digressions all the time, but it's just me. Hope you forgive me. Forgive me. Now, I'm trying to get all these, some birds, some stones, and stuff over here. And just have to kind of mark them up and work a little bit with them. See, I can also use, when I want to dissolve the stuff, I can also use the back side. There's a lot of birds here. If I can actually just paint one of the ducks or two of the ducks quite close, that it actually looks like ducks, because they are only silhouettes, people will believe that the rest of them are ducks. Yeah, it looks totally different. There's, think about it, I'm standing here at the age of 50 painting ducks in a small painting that is basically trying to kill me. And I feel I have so much to do. I have like 20 huge paintings inside a different room that I don't get the time to work with, and I just go nuts soon. It's beautiful, huge. I should actually stop doing commission work because it's kind of... that was quite nice actually. Okay. So there's two ducks and there's a shadow here, because there's ice on the water, so I'm going to stand on the water ice. So I do like this with my finger, and I have to then make it a little bit more like this. And I'll also dissolve this one. So that's a good way to dissolve the line. If you just use the back side like this. You can also use your nails or some other stuff if you like. Because it has to be a little bit dissolved or not. It's going to look quite drawn, and that is not nice. Drawn is never nice. It can be drawn some places, but you have to do very conscious choices about what should be drawn or what should not be drawn. Almost like to be or not to be is the question. Jesus, I'm getting tired. Jesus, Muhammad. I'm an atheist, by the way. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in the gods. And if I did, I would believe in Thor and Odin. So I could go to Valhalla and drink beer with the gods and eat pig meat and fight without any consequences. That's it. That is what I would do. And you can go all out in a blaze of glory and get rewarded for it. Just like the jihadist. Just think of that. You put the Vikings that want to go to Valhalla, and you put ISIS, off the fucking fly, ISIS on the same battlefield. That could be fun. I mean, they have the same goal. Go to heaven. I don't think there were any forced conversions in the Norse belief. The Vikings didn't force their religion on people. Well, they forced themselves on people. There's no doubt about that. But there were not any forced conversions to the Asatro. Åsa. Ay, 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 ay. I wonder what would have happened if Christianity didn't get roots in the West or in Europe. I mean, in Germany they also believed in Baal and Thor and the Norse gods, and in Europe too. And, I mean, the stories are so ridiculous that maybe we would have been rid of religion altogether without this drawn out nonsense of Christianity that people actually still believe in. I don't know, it's funny. It's strange how humans, the bias of human beings are so strong that we can believe in things that even children see through and denounce. But grown-ups are still able to keep these beliefs, and it's just weird. Then I have to. Oh, that's better. Okay. Funny, I'm an anti-theist. In a way, I'm a political atheist. And I have a friend who's was a totally fundamentalist Christian. And it's so strange that we can be so incredibly different when it comes to religion, but in a way find common ground in our personality structures and in our honesty about the beliefs, or mine isn't a belief, but the honesty of the conversation. He actually got a little bit pissed. I had a party. He got a little bit pissed because, and he shouldn't, because we were arguing about all of these things on the internet before we met and became friends. And it's funny, he started to talk about Jesus and stuff, and I said, well, I had to stop him and said, well, I think that is a psychosis, because he actually I've been doing healing and seeing it work and stuff like that, and I'm totally convinced that he's not lying. He's not a liar. He actually sees it and experiences it. And that is why it is so real to him. That is impossible for him to understand how I don't believe it. It's almost like being in love, I think. He's in love with Jesus, and also know a German woman who is a painter. It's an incredibly sweet girl, woman. And we had this discussion, and it's the same thing. Jesus is as real to her as this painting is to me, and she just can't understand that I don't believe it. And I think I was in love, really in love, a few years ago, like 5 years ago, and when you fall that deeply in love, I think it's more like a religious experience. It's very hard for a person to understand that you're actually not going to get the girl, or that she doesn't like you that much back, or stuff like that. Now, I'm a rational person, so I was able to do, well, at least I try to do intellectual overrides when my cravings for this girl became too big. But even I, who I will say have a certain amount of intelligence, and I know objectively that my bias was fooling me, it was even hard for me to understand the pain and the sorrow. And I can understand, as I say to my friend, I can understand the pain he would have to go through. It's like me not getting that girl times 50 if he now lost his faith, and the same with that German woman. And it's easy when you are in a discussion with people that you don't know, not to care about their feelings, and not to care about their really strongly held beliefs. But when you know people, and you kind of like these people, it gets harder to hurt them. And that's why I try tell my friend, Steinar his name is, that we could have this truth when it comes to this religion thing. We don't need to discuss it anymore because we have discussed it so many times before. But then again, it's very hard for him not to, because he wants to, of course, save me. And the same goes for that woman. Sarah is his name, actually. And yeah, and sometimes I just can't hold back when they say, I'll pray for you, or God bless you, something, and it's so hard for me not to just hit back. So there too, I mean, if you're in my discussion with a religious person on the internet, a person I don't know, I'm really ruthless when it comes to, I don't care about people's feelings, but when you know people, it becomes so much harder. But my point is that they feel that deep, deep being in love feeling for their beliefs, for Jesus. Jesus is as real to them as that girl was to me. And losing that is really hard. So, I don't know. But then again, of course, they many times build up to that conversation themselves, and then I don't have to feel so bad about it. My friend actually got a little bit angry because I called it a psychosis, and I told, why the hell do you become angry? I've been saying this for years and it's nothing new. But he was so tired that people called what he believed a psychosis. But he has to be able to put himself into my shoes. If I said to him that I believe that Allah was the only way to paradise and Muhammad his messenger, I would believe equally strong in that. But then he says, well, that's a false religion. Missing the point. So, beliefs are strange. I mean, if I... Okay, here. A little touch-up. To give it a little bit more... yeah, a little bit more clarity. So I'm going to start there, as usual. I wonder about starting with the ducks, but I'm going to start with the clouds. Just give them a little bit more light. I wanted to keep this. I'm not gonna go crazy here. Just gonna give the whole thing, because last time I worked way too long on it and it became kind of a little bit overdone. I lost some of the punch to it. Kind of have to kick back. And it's always hard to find, if you work too long, you stop actually seeing, you stop noticing what you're doing. Now I'm just going to give a little bit more light and a few more subtle detail, And I'm going to call it a day. I thought I was finished with this actually a couple of weeks ago, but then I took it up again, and many times one tend to just keep going and go past certain stages, and then you have to kind of overhaul the whole thing. Yeah. See how the clouds now are. You can also use the finger here to kind of mold it out a little bit. Like this. Just keep the tops here because the light is coming from the side. So I want to be on this side. Some shadow over there. And maybe I should zoom a little bit on this so you can see it a little bit better. Now I need to move it a little bit. Sorry. Because I'm going to work all on there. Anyway. Wait, shit. Like this. Okay. Yeah. And I still use my more crude pencil. See here. This is a very slow process. You come to the stage. It is almost nothing that will make it go over the edge or to make it better. So subtle. So here, there, a little bit more yellow over here, tone it down a little bit. Here. Then some blue. And I want to try to pull that. Then to get the clouds and the sky to kind of slide into one another, I'm going in here and I make this also much more bright, clearer color. So now, if you see, all this gives the painting more, in a way, more life, or becomes more subtle, and then I kind of mix these two together, not mixing them together, but I'm letting them slide into one another, so I create this subtle overgang, as it's called in Norway, from here to here, so it doesn't get hard. be more natural. As long as you can trick the eye from a distance, it's okay, because painting every single detail is basically impossible. Not impossible probably, but you have to then spend, I guess, a couple of years on painting like this. And I don't have the time or the economy. I don't even know if I have the skill. So maybe I should try a couple and see what happens. Yeah, it was quite nice. And I want to give it a little bit more clarity over there. I need a little bit of yellow. Not too much, you don't want it to be yellow. My eyes are tricked into believing it is yellow, but it's not that yellow, so. Yeah, that's better. It became a little bit dirtied up last time, and now I'm just cleaning it up a little bit. And some places I can let it be a little bit dirty because that gives shadows, and yeah. It's very difficult with that landscape because if it becomes too clear, it seems too drawn. If it becomes too dissolved, it kind of seems too dissolved. So I have to find some middle ground for it. Give it some spots of light, sunlight. It's very subtle, you see. There are some spots. Not that strong, but they are there. I'm not that vivid. It's not the right word. You see now the sun comes from the side there, and you give it a little bit more address. You start kind of believing it in a little bit more. So, quite nice white here. It's probably a concrete building, so you get this sharp edge. Same you get in the house over here. So now I'm kind of dragging out a few details, and suddenly it seems sharper, more believable. There's also, now I always talk about don't use too much lines, but here I'm going to do it like this first. Then I'm just going to kind of wipe it out a little bit. Okay. It's quite difficult here because everything is in cold colors, and the cold colors can be a challenge. This is building. Yeah, and there's some transparent glasses over here too, but I mean it's so small, it's limited to what I can actually manage to do. And I have the ducks. I fear the ducks. The ducks are difficult. Kind of a funny detail. It's kind of shines through the water here, and we have a duck. We have ourselves a duck. And there's another duck. Get it straight, it sits down like that. Yeah. Small. The chest is coming up here. Okay, but now it kind of looks like a duck. If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Is that what I say? See, I'm just tightening the things up. And that's what I'm going to do for a few hours. It became quite nice, just enhancing it there. I'm going to do that, go over the whole thing, enhance it. And then I'm going to say, fuck it, I'm finished. Also the water, everything has to be a little bit more toned. So yeah, see you later. Okay. So, I am basically almost finished, but I'm going to do a small touch-up with some small details, just in light and stuff. And then I'm done. I have some rocks and a rock here. These things will actually explain some of the depth in it. There's also shadow that kind of goes down into the eyes. And also a rock over basically here. And a little seagull over here. I can't really paint a seagull. Too small. I mean, but just have to give an impression of there being something. Kind of looks like a bird. Giving some legs. Painting some symbols in a way. And shining the eyes. Also here. There's some reflection, reflection. There's a goose over there, but it's so small you can't really see it. I mean, it has to be crazy to try to paint it. Well, kind of looks like. There's some there's some stuff happening here. Some ducks or something. Hard to tell. So now it kind of looks like a small. Okay, we're gonna give it a small wave there. It's not a wave, it's just some. Of course, it's ice, so some ripples or something. cracks. This might be spring, it feels like spring, but it might also be late fall. I don't know, I'll have to ask the woman who I'm painting it for about that. So it's been a difficult painting actually. There's much more happening in it than I first thought. So in a way, the more you paint, the more you tend to pop out, and you spend hours and hours on going back and forth, and you fuck it up a little bit and you have to repaint some of it and paint over it, and all this back and forth in the end gives it some personality. It's funny, I kind of, oh, this is word kind of, I hate that word. I transform, or I move my personality through this pencil and these paintings over into the texture, all my choices, and also all my mistakes and shortcomings. So I think that is what makes painting, when the light goes on, when you have real introspection, when you start to criticize your own work, that is what makes it kind of more painful thing, and you are constantly confronted. I probably talked about that 10 times in this video. It's not that I accept people to see the whole videos. Most of you probably just jump around in them. Or I do know I have a couple of people who, at least some I know about, that likes to see the whole thing. And for folks, one doesn't have to do it in one go. And you can partition it up. Maybe I should put in some timings to every clip, so you can actually scroll and just see one clip at a time. Yeah. Maybe I'll partition it or have some yeah, I don't know the word right now. I have to keep it open at the same time. That has to make it shine or make it lively. It can't be lively without being open. So just have to manage to place the things at the right spots, I guess. It's funny how something like this can become almost like an existential questioned. Almost like to be or not to be questioned. And it's only a small painting, but for me it becomes this giant and important thing that can drive me crazy. I have spent so much time doing this. I should have had 3 times more to do it. But that is how it is. You can't... when you go beyond the sketch, you don't know how long it's going to take. If you only stop with a sketch, I have one video where in the beginning you can see the sketching process. And if I concentrate a little bit more, I would be able to make very nice sketches that could actually stand as paintings on their own right, in their own right. And but I always push myself over that. Oh God! Hear the sound? There's a store upstairs, and he needs to get himself some rubber wheels on his carts. I'm gonna buy it to him. Drives me nuts. Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. I guess people are waking up. Some more medium. This was a typical painting that just kept on becoming more and more difficult. If it was bigger, it might have been easier, because I do hang myself up in these details and I can't really let it go. So I keep banging, in a way, the same. In the end, I stand there banging the same drum over and over, and it actually also put me into this mode where I almost get scared on starting on them. So it's hard to start every day. But then, when it kind of comes to the end, it's a real release, and yeah. I think that is it, you know. I keep giving myself some difficulties, and it makes my life feel fulfilled, or give it some focus. I wouldn't say important, because I'm not stupid. My life isn't important in any objective way. The universe will go on without me for infinity. And existence will keep on existing after I'm gone. And funny to think about that. It basically took an infinity of time before me to get me here. probably infinitely many universes were created out of the quantum soup, and went back to heat, death and destruction before this universe came into being. And my mind saw the light of day, and then goes back to not existing, and the universes will keep coming and going for infinity without me. And that is very strange. An infinity of time, probably. It's funny, I don't know if there are any physicists watching people paint, but if you are a physicist and you know something I don't know, so please comment. I do know they talk about you need so many universes for us to re-emerge as ourselves in the same patterns and stuff, but I can't really see how. I mean, if infinity and chaos exist, which it does, probably, I don't see how, if every quantum fluctuation, every universe has basically infinitely many possibilities of evolving in a way because of chaos. I don't see how anything needs to happen twice. So I don't think I'm coming back in any. I would of course not know, because I wouldn't know about this existence if for some mathematical reason it came into being again. And I don't know how many universes you need to get the same thing happens, but it's quite many. But I wouldn't know anyway, so anyway, death is certain, even if I could re-emerge in some different universe. And with chaos theory, I guess you wouldn't be able to get the same anyway, so I'm fucked. You have to know a little bit about physics and cosmology and mathematics maybe, or at least know basics about how the universe works and how the laws of nature works to understand what the hell I'm talking about. So I will urge you to study a little bit of quantum physics for dummies, how the universe came to being, Big Bang, quantum fluctuations, the possibility for basically infinite multiverse. And that is the beauty of living today. We have so much knowledge, so we can actually understand both how we are, how we came into being, and also basically where we are going. So, and that's a privilege. So, thanks to all the great people who came before me, who gave me possibility to understand my own existence. So I know that I don't need to sit around and think about the how question. No, sorry, the why question. And I can only concentrate about the how questions. How I came into being, how I'm going to paint, how I'm going to solve the small things in life to make my life better while I'm existing. Stuff like that. I mean, I don't need to sit around thinking about if I'm going to be judged by God or any other nonsense like that. I know I'm going to die, so there's nothing to fear. I can't fear death, that would be just ridiculous. Because it's something I have to do at some point. So that's how it is, and you just have to get used to it. I was impressed by my hero Christopher Hitchens died of esophageal cancer, and the way he met his demise were extremely impressive. The clarity of mind, the humor, and the grace. No whining, no why me. As he said, one is tempted to ask the why question, why me? But it's just a silly question. If you ask why me, the universe doesn't even bother or can't answer. And the answer would be, why not? So, knowing these things kind of brings with it a sort of sadness, a beautiful sadness in a way. Yeah. But it's also liberating, a liberating sadness, beautiful. A sadness that brings you deeper, you become more conscious. You are staying or camping. You're camping in reality every day, and there is no escape. And it makes life burn much brighter than it used to be when I was a young, naive fool that thought that the universe were made with me in mind. I mean, it can't be any more solipsistic than that you actually can't understand. You are going to cease to exist because you feel you are the most important thing in the universe in a way. Your own demise is just not acceptable. So you go along with all these invented stories and notions. I was never religious like in a Christian sense, but I was more like I believed in life after death, basically because if not, life is meaningless, and I couldn't accept that life was meaningless. So, but now I accept it, but I also accept that I can have a jolly good time if I do the right things, the right choices, or I can suffer every day when I do the wrong choices. I wonder if somebody actually listened to my rants. Clouds are so low. But just think about that. No cloud or no snowflake or nothing like this is the same. They look the same. You cannot. So I usually joke with, you know, I have a motif, I paint it, but this is kind of right after the motif or the picture were taken, because I can never get it totally right, but everything would change rapidly on the sky, so it doesn't really matter because it kind of changes anyway. Of course, I'm trying to reach how it looks the best I can, but can't get it all right. This is going to be a very long video. So there's a shadow of that bird. There's also this bird is so small. Can't see them. Yes. So I was talking about the universe and everything again. It's funny because sometimes I think, okay, I'm saying the same things over and over again, but then I go into YouTube or something, or Curiosity Stream or some place I can see a good documentary about the universe and everything, and I hear people talk about the same things over and over and over again, but I don't get tired of it because it's also a little bit of variation in every person who talks about it, or every time one talk about it. So it never gets boring listening to it. But you know, my videos aren't that popular anyway, so. Another big butt woman or a guy with abs, well, I almost have abs now actually, that are making cool health videos. I'm a painter who is making extremely long and boring, probably, videos about painting, life and everything. Going nuts here. Okay, I'm going to stop the camera, work a little bit more, and then I'm finished. Okay, here it is, finished. From this to this, and I think it maybe became a little bit nice. Gonna zoom a little bit, show you the colors, how the textures are built, and how I have used. I see the greens, so the colors are more vivid than in reality, but that's okay. See how I've been working, very impressionist, with all the different things, crisscrossing colors over one another to create all these textures on both the micro and micro macro level. Yeah, what can I say? This is how it turned out, and I do hope that the customer likes it. I do actually think it became quite nice. It was really difficult also because it was so small and I had to work so tiny. So here I am, and as usual I hope that you can do me the favor to share my video on videos on YouTube, on social media. Give them a thumbs up, give me a comment, tell me what you think. You can ask me questions within reason, and you can also become a patron if you like, donate, support my channel if you feel you want to give something back. I do not know if I have more to say about this. I'm quite tired. I've been working for hours on end, so with this I'm gonna say stay cool and see you in the next